We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Good morning. I don't know why, I kind of feel like I've been on vacation or something. But I'm just glad to be here and be in your company. And thank you again, Regina, for switching this weekend with me. I feel like since school has come in, my brain has been a little bit like putty, and I've been like scheduling things on top of each other and going, oops, So, thank you for helping me out there, and just good to see everyone. If I want to just welcome us all to come into the room and greet one another. Okay. I'm going to start off with some announcements. Let's see. So, registration is open for the online retreat, Letting Go of Fear, which will be held October 16th through 18th. When we asked you what retreat you wanted offered in 2020, the most requested retreat was Letting Go of Fear. Fear can be experienced in many ways. It may feel like uneasiness, angst, nervousness, apprehension, or excessive worry, or it may be experienced as absolute terror. Fear can also be repressed and experienced as other emotions, such as frustration or anger. In any case, fear distorts your perception and your ability to think clearly with the right mind. At this retreat, you will come to understand understand the cause of fear and learn how you can become free of fear. The Letting Go of Fear retreat will be led by Regina Dawn Akers. For more information and to register, look on our main menu bar under Retreats and Classes. Backed by popular demand is Regina Dawn Akers releasing the I Am Bad Belief retreat. Yay! This online retreat is being offered in a half-day format from 10:30 to 1:30 Eastern Time daily, Wednesday through Friday, October 28th through 30th, and Monday through Wednesday, November 2nd through the 4th. Whether you call it guilt, as does A Course in Miracles, unworthiness, as does NTI, or simply the I am bad belief, it is an untrue belief, most likely adopted in early childhood, which drives actions and reactions in nearly all humans. People make life decisions that they wouldn't otherwise make because of this belief's influence. This belief is the primary cause of stress, annoyance, anger, jealousy, and other types of mental and emotional suffering. If you release this one belief, your life will be happier and you will feel much freer than you do with the belief. This retreat will focus solely on how to release the I am bad belief. If you come, you will learn what you need to learn to be set free. Let one who has released the I am bad belief show you the way in this concentrated, focused retreat. For more information or to register, look on our website on the main menu bar under Retreats and Classes. Join us for our new program, In the Company of Truth with Helen Hamilton, beginning Wednesday, October 14th, 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. In this bi-weekly satsang, held on the second and fourth Wednesday of each month, Helen will demonstrate and teach the simplicity of self-realization. If you consider yourself a disciple of truth and find that your soul longs for total liberation, then you are among good company here. If you feel a call in your heart to wake up fully to the truth of your being and to live as that, then this program is for you. Helen's core message is that the realization of the true self is possible for everyone, no matter what background you may have, as long as you want it more than anything else. After all, we are only returning to our natural state, to what we already are. We are only coming to live as that truth consciously. How long does it take to be what you already are? How difficult does it need to be to rid yourself of illusion that was never true. Having reached a place of total peace, love, and joy, Helen has dedicated her life to helping others wake up too. The truth is here and now and accessible to all. Helen will offer her teachings in this bi-weekly satsang to help you realize and be the self you already are. For more information about Helen and to access her teachings, visit her website, helenhamilton.org. Did you know that all of Awakening Together's governing documents are available on our website? The documents include our Constitution and bylaws, governing philosophies and policies and procedures. Awakening Together is committed to transparent and disciplined stewardship of this assembly. To that end, the member board of trustees and the board of directors have put in place specific policies and procedures to guide the assembly in our day-to-day operations. If you are curious as how specific matters are handled by Awakening Together leadership, or if you just want to see how our core values are represented in our governance, you can find out more by looking on our website to read, and then go to read, and then governance documents. That's it for our announcements. So now the statement of purpose. Core value number 5. We accept all forms as temporary appearances, permitted through enduring awareness of self. We live this value by honoring all appearances and all experiences while continually reflecting on changeless truth. And so next I have a song, our opening chant, Feel So Close. I Feel So Close by Calvin Harris. And in the backdrop is a painting by Dave Toporowski called I Am Light. You're up now. No, I'm joking. Okay. Let's see here. There we go. All right. So we'll now begin with our invocation. Everyone just breathe into this moment. Take a deep breath. And be completely here. My prayer is that we may all come to know what we truly are, what our true nature is, that we may grow to trust that, to live as that, to have joy and love and peace as that, and that we may let go of all the doing and all of the getting and completely be in this moment where the self is completely who we are, knowing that we are one with that. And so it is. So next, I just wanted to introduce the reading that Dawn's going to be doing. Thank you, Dawn. I just wanted to share a little bit about it. I took the Dissolving the Ego course with Helen Hamilton, who some of you know, and who we just talked about, who's going to be doing a satsang at Waking Together. Spiritual teachers based in England. This course, the Dissolving the Ego course, was accompanied by these daily nuggets, which were like inspirational encouragements. Give me one sec. Could you get my plug over there? There's inspirational encouragements that she emailed to us daily, sort of like Regina's tips during gentle healing. Pardon me, one second. My plug to the computer. Losing power here. So these were nuggets that she would send to us regularly, and one in particular just really struck me deeply. It was, I guess it was day 18. So with Helen's permission, to share that from the course, we're going to do that. So I just wanted to explain before Dawn gets started that there's a word that she uses called noumenon, which is just basically the self, or God or Buddha nature. It's defined in Webster's dictionary as a posited object or event that exists independently of human sense and or perception. It is a constant, unchanging, unaffected, unknowable. It is not perceivable by the senses, not coming or going. Unlike phenomenon, which has a beginning and ending and is temporary. Our phenomenon could be our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, things that we perceive with the five senses. So she uses this term to unload just basically a lot of the spiritual baggage that students have with words such as God or whatever tradition or spiritual path that we may be coming from, so that there's no automatic memories that get activated by this word, so that it is clean and its meaning untouched by mind or imagination. So Dawn will just read this brief piece from me. Thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome, of course. All right, so again, this is the Daily Nugget. This is number 18. It's called Wisdom, What of Your Problem Now? Once we see clearly that we are looking at the body and mind from the noumenon and not the other way around, things begin to get much more simple and easy for us. If we're looking at the ego sense of self, which is really only a bunch of repetitive thoughts, emotions, experiences, and bodily contractions, then what problems remain for us now? It is the ego that wants to wake up and even live as this truth, the self with a capital S. It's already absolutely, or the self. Let me read that again. It is ego that wants to wake up and even live as this truth. The self is already absolutely and utterly free and is never able to be bound. Can awareness ever be bound? It is the ego that wants to forgive, be more loving, let go of thoughts, and transcend the mind. The self with a capital S is already unable to identify with a body-mind. There's no other to forgive or love more as the self. Does the silence need to forgive? It is the ego that has karmic patterns, vasanas, and illusion. The self has no karma because there is no other, no time or space, no becoming or evolving now for you. What does the beingness have to let go of? If we deeply investigate each problem that is offered to us after lesson 3, we will see it's ego's problem and not ours, nor was it ever. This is not to make ego wrong, but just to see we can never solve its issues, and we can love it by stopping trying. Clear discernment of what it means to be the great noumenon will set you free right now. No problems were ever yours. I'm going to repeat that. No problems were ever yours. See it again and again until you are free from the effects of imagining you are bound and waking up. That concludes the reading. Back to you, Beverly.
Thanks, Dawn. That was great. So my awakening journey has really taken a very kind of a sweet and gentle turn towards love and acceptance of what I truly am. I'm moving towards seeing and being rather than just studying. And sometimes this can go hand in hand because I have a tendency to become this perpetual student. So this shift has been important for me to be more living as the experience rather than always studying. So I'm grateful to be moving in this direction. And gentle healing has been instrumental in preparing me to be independent in my awakening journey, and has given me the maturity to trust the self. It's as if it's prepared the soil for like a deeper sowing of seeds that come my way, and now the seeds can take root more easily. I recently had been attending Helen Hamilton satsangs, and I ended up taking the Dissolving the Ego course. And as I said, this particular piece that Dawn read just struck me deeply. A perspective that she often teaches that I found hard to get my head around, although I've heard it dozens of times, and I know that we all have, is that I am already that. That awakening is a seeing. That awakening is a seeing and not a doing or a studying is something that I have to remind myself of over and over again. To see myself as Jesus or Buddha or the self already, and to allow that knowing to settle into my being is what I am now doing. My ego has a spiritual to-do list that will ensure that I never actually get there because there is nowhere to get. There's no one to become, no one to forgive, no problem to solve, no waking up to do. My spiritual journey has been from the ego, and I realize that this has been the identity from which I pursued my awakening. If I am in fact already that, then where do I need to go and what do I need to do? As I am now realizing and integrating this knowing into my being that I am that, then the ego says, well, now you've got to convince me. You've got to bring me up to speed. You have to bring me along and you have to wake me up. You know we have some stuff to heal. Your life is not looking like Jesus or the Buddha. And as soon as we clean up this mess and you bring me up to speed, we can awaken. And this is where I get off track. What I've learned is that the mind does not need to understand. I only need to do the work, and the work is my willingness, as Regina has taught us. Acts of willingness may include meditation, contemplation, and inquiry, but we are not doing anything. The self does not need to awaken. Mind does not have to get it. It is possible for me to have no clue and awaken. It is actually more likely the case if my mind is not trying to process and interpret the wisdom that I may be receiving, as truth needs no interpreter. There was this visual that Helen once gave, and I use it to get me out of ego's quicksand. You are standing on the mountaintop, shoulder to shoulder, having equal footing with the sages, with Buddha, Jesus, Nisargadatta, the Dalai Lama, or whomever you see as that. You are already that. And down below is the ego climbing, struggling, needing to awaken, forgive, be more loving, accepting, needing to solve problems, needing to heal, full of fear, anger, despair, experiencing ups and downs and intermittent glimpses of itself as the one. And it is from this identity that is already at the mountaintop that I see there is nothing to wake up to. I could be none other than the self. But to live as that now, no matter what appearances are showing up, is the alchemy that makes the experience lived and not sought after. How our life appears could no more tell us where we are in our awakening process than the ego could. The question for me is, where is my identity? As I become more aware of the space or the awareness that is me, my identity begins to shift towards the self. I am less and less affected by the needs of my spiritual ego. What does the self actually need? For some reason, this visual is helping me break with the identity of suffering as the ego. An image actually popped into my mind from the movie Lord of the Rings. I remember the character Gollum, who was sort of this malformed being obsessed with the precious. I know some of you, or probably all of you, probably seen the movie. The ring that he sought after throughout the movie. He was just this very tortured thing. Did not trust anyone. He listened to his voice in his head a lot. He started out as this evil character that was trying to steal the ring. And at some point, as I watched the series of movies, my heart even softened for this character, where before I felt he was bad, I started off feeling he was evil, untrustworthy, and something to avoid. And in the end, I rooted for him to trust, love, and come out of the darkness. I went from, you can't trust this character, to, poor thing, he just confused and wounded. To me, this is what the ego is like as it tries to ascend the mountain. And I watch it. I watch it with compassion, non-judgment, and open heart, knowing that it is not me, yet not needing to destroy it, as all is an expression of the self. I embrace all the ways that it shows up, yet clear about what is true and what is not. To reject the self in any form just creates more suffering. I cannot split myself in two and not suffer. As the self appears as all things believed, I place my awareness on awareness, strengthening this lived experience of what I am, remembering that the self needs nothing. The ego and its problems do not need my attention. This someone with all of its concerns, worries, problems, and fears is becoming less of an identity. Not that I don't do the day-to-day common sense things that this human experience requires, but it becomes less of a problem. As we love what is, how do we live in harmony in this world? There is what the body does, and there is awareness of the self. There's no need for hand-to-hand combat with the ego, for I am already that. Even when I fall short, as I abide in the one, love does not allow truth not to be lived or revealed, nor does it allow condemnation and judgment for what has already occurred. As I said before, appearances cannot tell us where we are in our awakening process. If it could, we would never wake up. We need not break identification with self based on what we witness our lives to be. We are no less the self under any circumstances. This is grace. Grace is not a rare lightning bolt. It is ever present as our very essence. Helen says it is the ego that wants to wake up and even live as this truth. This journey towards can be infinite if this is what we believe, because we are infinite. When I think about how my ego wants to transcend the mind and set all kinds of spiritual goals, I remember that the self knows not how to identify with this body-mind. This perceived journey does not translate for the self. This last hurdle, this last myth, that there is more to do, is what keeps me in this labyrinth of pain. Forgiveness is letting go of the ego's shoulds and shouldn'ts, welcoming and loving all. Everything gets absorbed in the love of the self. Does the self need to forgive? What doesn't the self embrace? What doesn't it give space to? What does it limit, prohibit, or give conditions to? Nothing. What are we limiting, prohibiting, or giving conditions to? What does the self disallow? Nothing. This makes forgiveness unnecessary. What is allowed is an expression of the self and must give way to truth, which is what the self is. Repression is the disallowance of what is. There can be no healing in that. There can be no transcendence in that. It is denial of the self. And what I have learned from repression is that the self will not be denied. Authenticity has no spiritual costume. It is truth in its most raw form. It is like truth's birthplace. For some of us, being authentic can feel like giving birth. If we look at gemstones in their raw form, not so sparkly and shiny, but without authenticity, the truth, the diamond, the pearl, the gem cannot come forth. This has been very helpful because I often want to go straight to truth and ignore my humanity. If everything is the self, then all must be embraced. What I like as well as what I don't like about myself, feelings and thoughts that I deem acceptable as well as unacceptable, what I like about my life as well as what I do not like. Whatever is showing up now is the self. The vasanas and karmic patterns. Oh, how I love these. Well, I see these as little saviors, as misunderstandings begging to be understood. The experience that I have as someone with the problem of that someone is also the self. As all is the self, it cannot hurt me. The self has no karma because there is no other. I realize that with this statement that I have bought into this someone with a specific set of problems that are very, very special, requiring special interventions. These problems belong to the ego or my someoneness. They have nothing to do with the self, which I am. If I continue to make a problem out of my problems, I will never be free, for I am the infinite one, and this can go on and on. If I judge the ego or make it wrong, I will suffer, as all is the self. These problems were never mine because there never was an ego, nor the illusions thereof. But until I can see clearly what I am to love what is, as I choose higher ground. As the noumenon or the self, we have no problems. You are to see it again and again until you are free from the effects of imagining you are bound and waking up, as the reading says. We are infinite, so that the imagining that we are waking up may be infinite also, and the waking process then never ends. Or we may look on with the sages from the mountaintop and assume our rightful place as the self now. From there we can love from the place of knowing that all is well, even if the ego doesn't know it yet and may never know it. We need not be bothered with what the ego knows or doesn't know as we switch our identification from ego to self through awareness, watching awareness. The ego and its problems become obsolete, truly just a dream that you once had. Adyashanti says, you are not the seeker, you are the sought. You are the self. What I have learned from this course is that dissolving the ego is the byproduct of shifting my identity to the self. Our spiritual journey is not a self-improvement project. To live as the self, we must leave the little self alone. It is a distraction, an appearance, not to be judged but accepted as how the self is showing up and nothing more. Loving what is allows it to be transformed. It is nothing we need to struggle with. The little self then becomes this ripple on a deeper ocean that you are. Don't be distracted by the waves. There is this book by Helen Hamilton called The Hamilton Gita. It's a beautiful arrangement of writings for contemplation. And there's this one particular one called Reverence to the One. It's a little short reading. For me, this represents an emptiness and an end of seeking. And I would like to just briefly read it for you. Reverence to the One. Whom shall I worship now? Where shall I place my devotion? I find nothing to rest my attention on. I cannot find anyone to help me. What do I give my reverence to now? What can I see that is unholy? There is nothing for me to release, remove, or reject. What should I practice now? Where do I need to go? There is nothing that I can become. What can I possibly do now? There is nothing to be done or undone. What is the use of surrender? There is nothing left for me to give. The contemplator has vanished without a trace, and there is nothing for me to see. I have no need for goals, dreams, or a purpose. I have no need for more, less, or same. This fire has burnt everything and left nothing untouched. What is the use in further imaginations? And that concludes my homily. The next song I'd like to introduce is by the Alabama Shakes. So the song is called Hold On. And the singer of the group is Brittany Howard. She performed the song on stage for the first time with only the music, not having yet created the lyrics. She basically told the band to play it as she created the lyrics as she went on stage. She explained these lyrics in an interview. There's a line where she says, "Never thought I'd make it to 22 years old." And she explains, it's not necessarily that I didn't think I was going to make it to 22. It's just like when you know how when you're younger and you can't imagine yourself ever being grown. I didn't like my job. I didn't like where I was living. And I didn't like the way my world was. You're holding on, but at the same time, you're tired of waiting for things to get better. And then she ended with, why do you always gotta want something better? You know, and this is her having said this, you know, as having arrived or having, you know, made it. So to me, this spoke to how we reach outside ourselves for what's already there. And as someone who finally made it, she seems to be sharing this wisdom with us. So I hope you enjoy this song. Okay. Thank you, everybody. And I guess we will open it up for anyone who has anything they want to share.
Ron.
Hey, Beverly. Beautiful. Just, I think there's this, where we're so accustomed to having to do something to accomplish, whether it's cook a meal, whether it's doing something at work, there's the sense of effort and work, associated to it. And that's why this is so challenging, I think, to see that if we just affirm what we already are, that it's the affirmation that actually does the dissolving, as opposed to trying to roll up our sleeves and, let's get to it. Because as they say with, playing with mud, that when you do, you get your hands dirty. Stay out of it and instead of looking at the mud, look at what you are. Now you may have mud could have gotten splashed up on you. So you have this kind of in between or odd experience of having mud on you, but you don't really care anymore. It's kind of like, oh, cool. Now I got the mud on me. Now isn't this interesting? This is what's showing up right now. Great. Yeah, it's affirming from the right, from not the right place, because there is only one place. It's what we already are. And that's what does the dissipating. That's what does the dissolving by continuing to, or, do I really have, am I the doer? Do I really need to have mud on my hands? So the simple asking of those questions, which internally points us in the right direction without a specific answer coming yes or no. It has nothing to do with really getting a specific answer. That's what does it's that opening that questioning just gives that openness to continue to see and experience who and what we really are. And that's what does the dissolving. And after a while, we do it more and more and more and more and more, it becomes habitual and becomes part of our default position as opposed to the human conditioning side. I'm partway through that process, and it's just so phenomenal just to really, in a sense, do nothing but affirm what you already are by refocusing, just by redirecting attention. And then what also gets affirmed is what's showing up, whether it's something that could be painful. Sorry, I'm outside and some dogs just decided to start barking. So I'll go ahead and wrap it. I'll wrap it up. But thank you so much. So well spoken, so simple, so straightforward. Great communication. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. Anybody else? If not, we'll see. Move to the next song. Give me one sec. Hold on one second. So yeah, this is a song by Lauryn Hill called "Everything Is Everything." I was thinking this video is from like 10 years ago, so history seems to repeat itself, but you know, it also seems to be saying that only the truth is true. So I love, the symbolism in this video. Okay, hope you like that. All right. Just checking it again if anybody has anything they want to say. And if not, I think we have
I had a revelation yesterday I just wanted to share. It's amazing how the ego, which is just all these compilations of programs from our subconscious mind that are trying their best to run the show until we discover, like, well, wait a minute, how I really want to be ran. And in that in between, until we really let go of these programs, it's going to seem as if the ego is running the show and not the self with a capital S. So I was, my job now, after this amazing retreat that just happened, Keys to the Kingdom, the Ultimate Guide to Freedom, we learned a lot about what I'm talking about these subconscious programs running. And so I had a memory come up yesterday, and this is just a perfect example how in the collective is this programming, aka the ego, that if we don't take a look, it will keep running the show and block us from being and seeing and feeling and living for yourself. And yesterday was so amazing to see how, what came in was this memory. I had to work hard for a long time to make straight A's, do really well in school. And when it was time to graduate, I graduated with honors. Number 36 going across the thing with all these little sashes and National Honor Society and this and that and the other. And my mom was supposed to, there's the program, supposed to be there. So what I discovered by looking deeply and looking, well, what's the reality of it? What really happened? And what I got to dive in and deep and see is that I'd held this pain for a long time on the premise, the concept, the belief, supposed to. So I literally watched a video on grammar on YouTube of what is the breakdown of this verbiage, how we use the language supposed to. And right there in the definition, one of the ways supposed to, this concept, it's a concept, it's a program, supposed to. She says in the video that supposed to's meaning means like one thing happened, but another thing what was supposed to happen? Like she used an example, you were supposed to call me at 7 o'clock. What happened? And I'm like, but that's exactly what we do. That's how we cause ourselves, one of the many myriad ways we cause ourselves suffering is we say, well, life should have shown, and that's another one. That's another way of saying should. Life should have shown this way, but in reality, it came another way. So what I got to discover is this was like a clue of how many programs are under this little concept supposed to that I've been playing, like this scenario, this relationship, this person, place, or thing, even myself, actions that I took. Like even that old saying, I should have known better. No, I shouldn't have. My level of consciousness, the programs running at the time, there's no way I had enough awareness to know better at that particular time. And so when I saw that supposed to concept, it's like, it's almost like, you know, the game dominoes where you can set up a whole bunch of dominoes and you push on the one domino and then they all start falling down. And it feels like that's what's happening. It's amazing because the ego wants us to think, oh, thoughts like I'm supposed to have awakened by now. You know, this should be another way. But that's just the programming. And that's all I have to say. It was an insight. It was a breakthrough. And there was some time here to share, some open space available. So I figured, why not? Why not share?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I wanted to just share what inspired me to do this particular homily. Is I was feeling very much like I was I guess chasing my ego around like the ego is a little child trying to get it to behave, you know. And it was like it was sort of this endless kind of loop that I was finding myself in, and just for some reason, you know, had sort of epiphany, like this is not like at all a part of my path, this thing that I'm doing with my ego. And you know, for some reason that insight just shifted me to the point where, you know, you hear about shifting, you know, then identification and identifying with the self. And but for some reason it was really starting to click for me. And there was just a freedom in it that, you know, you don't have to do this. This is not a part of the awakening path at all, whatever this is that you're doing. So just to share that. So if everybody is good, we can go into another song. As
Carla has her hand up.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Hi, Carla.
Good morning. Sometimes it's way earlier here. It's like I think it starts at 7:15. Sometimes I fall asleep during the sermon, but often I'll wake up at the exact moment and hear a statement that I needed to hear. And the self wanted to share this statement, and I'm like, should I? I don't know. I guess what came to my mind is, and it's held my mind before, what if nothing, no appearance in this world is as it seems to appear? So I just left Portland, Oregon. I let go of the house that I lived in for 30 years. And I don't know if I was thinking, but that was it. I let go and it's done. I'm here. What's happening now? What's to happen now? You know? And I realized Yeah. I was still letting go. I was still letting go, not having stuff to do in my house, not having the same size house. It's just all constant. This life is constant letting go of meaning, of attachment. And I will share what my mind said to share, and I'll do it. It's something I wrote. I think I've shared it here before, but it seemed to fit, that every seeming problem has a solution. The solution is realizing there is no problem. The answer, if needed, is to let go of the belief that there is one, a problem. Every seeming problem is a healing unfolding, a miracle in process. So, what if this world is not as it appears? And we chose to come here to be in a body, to experience certain experiences, to let them go. I mean, even words, I'm using words, and that's ego, even that's a concept, right? It's concepts, and even that's ego. But ego is not bad or wrong. I mean, it's been made, my sense is, ego is just a tool given us to navigate this world of form, to communicate, to learn, or whatever, all this stuff. I'm just putting words into things that, and it was something original, the helpful, and now it's been made into something altered, something maybe else, I don't know what you want to call it, by our belief that it's real, that it's something like that our thoughts are, that its communication is us. So I don't know, we're here to undo the ego. I'm here to remake it, maybe, to claim our power, our true essence, to focus on the truth that is true always, that has always been true. So I don't know why am I here in San Diego? I just know it's part of my learning, part of my growth into the truth of who I am. No, it's what the world is, because I am one with the world. The world is something miraculous that at times I don't see the truth of. But I guess what this time is sharing is that I am willing. I am so willing. And I was told in a dream years ago, your healing is only limited by your willingness. So grow your willingness until you are fully healed. So that's why I let go of my house in Portland. Well, one reason why I'm here. I'll be shown anything else. I don't have to worry about what it is and how to do it. It is happening. It is unfolding. I don't know what else to say, but I'm willing. I am beyond willing. I am growing in my willingness until I am fully healed. And when I am healed, all is healed. We are one. Thank you.
Regina?
Hi. I wanted to thank you also, Bev, for your sharing this morning. It was brilliant. It was simple. As I was contemplating, listening to, the two speakers that followed, a memory rose up in my mind about, I don't know how far I was onto the spiritual path. I'm going to guess 3 years. It was somewhere in the middle of what I call that purification phase that I went through. And there seemed to be at that time kind of an argument going on in the course community. Like there were like two sides of a line. And one side of the line was, all you should do is focus on the light. All you should do is focus on the light. And the other side of the line was, you need to go into the darkness and you need to see what's there. And for me, I just want to highlight those words for me. When I went to Spirit, Spirit said it was a combination of the two. Said that sometimes when all people do is focus on the light, depending on how they go about that, singing songs about the light and, all of that, sometimes they're in total denial of the darkness that they're still believing and operating from, like functioning from on a daily basis. Like they're believing it and not seeing it and completely living from it. And sometimes when people focus on just the darkness, they get mired down in that, and they have no awareness of who they are. It's like struggling against the ego. All they see is the ego. They struggle against the ego, and they get no taste of who they really are. And what Spirit told me at that time was I was going to walk what it called the middle way, which was not the same middle way that Buddha walked, because Buddha was between disregarding the body and giving the body, what's the word? I can't think of the word, but giving the body too much attention. That was really his middle way. The middle way that I was given was that I was not going to be denying the darkness. I was going to notice the darkness, but I was going to notice it as not true, as not real, as not what I am. And therefore I was going to not live from it. So like if some thoughts really came up telling me, to defend myself, since in a certain situation, since I was noticing that is not me, it's not true, then I would not defend myself. And I was going to be focusing on the light as what I am, focusing on the unaffectedness as what I am, focusing on the constant as what I am. And I just want to say that recipe has worked beautifully for me. And so when I hear living from yourself as, you are Buddha, you are Jesus, what I also hear in that is not living from that, what we called this week, the subconscious. Not living from, all of the ideas that I'm not that, right? But I just want to thank you very much, and I'll release the mic because I know you have another song to play.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Because that middle path or whatever is definitely I don't know if that could be called the Tao or or what, but it's definitely kind of like almost acknowledging, that I'm human, and at the same time, knowing the truth that, so that's very helpful. And just check, make sure no more hands are up. I don't think so. All right. And just go out to As by Stevie Wonder. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate all your energy and your love, and Awakening Together thrives on our donations. And thank you.
Thank you for watching. This was our weekly gathering that we hold online. For more information, you can visit our website at awakening-together.org, or you can subscribe to our Awakening Together channel and click the bell for more notifications when we post our weekly gatherings. Thank you again for watching.